Hey guys, Weiss here. Welcome to another video. Let's talk about the Playdate, this odd little console, this little yellow console or handheld gaming device that on July 29th, it went up for pre-order. 20,000 units sold in 20 minutes. So there's obviously demand for this device. Maybe it's one of those things where you didn't know you needed it until you saw it. Really strange little gadget. And to me, it's more of a gadget than a gaming console. Just this, just a little curiosity, and I don't get it. I really don't get the interest in this thing, and I don't get why it gets kind of a pass when so many people hate on the Amico. Now, first of all, if you are all about the Playdate and you're super excited to get one and you put your pre-order in, that is totally fine. I think that's cool. I want to play one at some point. I want to get one at some point, but not enough to pay $180 plus tax and shipping. Not enough to put in a pre-order or anything like that. I collect consoles, I collect handhelds. I would like to have this in my collection at some point. But I just don't get it, especially for the price. Now what I like about it, I'm gonna give a few positives, and then I'm gonna go into some negatives. Now, it does have sharp pixels. The screen image looks good. It is in black and white. That's fine. Black and white, I like black and white movies. I can do some black and white gaming, that's fine. It is a sharp image. Now it's small, which I like. If I want a bigger handheld on the go, I'll bring my Switch with me. Sometimes my Game Gear. The Game Gear was my console of choice or handheld gaming device back in the day. That was my gaming on the go. I love my Game Gear. My wife and I used to play that a lot. And if I want a bigger game system on the go, that's what I'll go with, the Game Gear or the Switch. But if I want something small to put in my pocket, I've already got a Game Boy Advance. But anyway, I do like that the Playdate, almost went into some negatives there. I do like the Playdate is small. That's cool because it's very portable. You can just stick it in your pocket and it's convenient. That's neat. It includes 24 games, releasing 2 per week. And it's got a D-pad and a B and an A button, kind of shades of classic NES or something, or Game Boy. And from what I understand from people who have played this unit, it's nice and clicky. They said the buttons feel good. It's got a 3-axis accelerometer, and it's got a crank on the side, which I'll get to in a minute. On the bottom, it's got a headphone jack, a USB-C port, and it attaches to a speaker via a magnet, which has pen holders on it, like as in writing pens, and it charges the system. This looks super retro. It's odd looking. It almost looks like something that would have come out in the 70s, just the way it's yellow and just kind of has an odd design. It's kind of neat looking, and you can develop games on it. It might be kind of a fun gadget just to kind of toy with here and there. At the end of the day, you're going to be spending over $200 on this, and it does come with a bunch of games, like I said, and that's cool. But it's underpowered. It's a simplistic system, which, being a retro gamer, I'm fine with simplicity. But so far, the games I've seen just don't appeal to me. There's one with a robot walking along and ducking, and you're turning that crank, which I'll get to in a second. There's a surfing game. There's a game that's like Snake, the old phone game. There's a top-down driving game. So simple games, kind of retro-styled games. But if I want a newer console to play old games, I want something like Space Invaders or, those slide and shoot type of games, or alien invasion games. Maybe a maze game where you're gobbling dots. A climbing game like Donkey Kong. Now, the Playdate could very well have these, and, this is going to be a platform for independent programmers, but I haven't seen really anything like in those genres so far. I'm not expecting licensed arcade classics on the Playdate, but I just mean these types of genres that I really enjoyed playing growing up, my favorite genres. Not seeing that on the Playdate so far, but obviously it is very early. But the games I've seen so far just kind of seem like little flash games or mini games, and just not that interesting so far. Now, with the Playdate, I can see just kind of toying around these games a little bit, but you can do that on your phone. Now, the Amico gives a hard time because they say, oh, you can just play those games on your phone. I don't really see it that way because you've got these reimagining of Intellivision IPs. You've got these modern takes on arcade classics with the Amico. But the Playdate, I don't see anything interesting like that yet, which is another curiosity why the Playdate gets a pass and the Amico gets bagged on so much. With the Amico, I can see playing Astro Smash, you know, the reimagined version of Moon Patrol, the modernized Shark, these types of games that I love. I could see playing on those for hours and hours. Night Stalker, the list goes on. But I just don't see these Playdate games, at least what I've seen so far from the the images I've seen online. These just look like quick, momentary games, which is fine. That might be all you want. But you can just kind of whip out your cell phone for that. There's no analog stick, which, it's fine. There's no analog stick on this bad boy. Doesn't keep it from being one of my favorite portables of all time. But, like the Switch has an analog stick, and with modern consoles, recent consoles, I'm used to playing with an analog stick. It's black and white, like I mentioned. I would prefer color. I can do black and white gaming, but I would prefer color, especially if I'm spending over $200. And it's not backlit. I mean, in 2021, when you're spending over $200, when it's all said and done, I would really expect the console to be backlit. Now, people have tried it, said it looks really good if you've got strong lighting, like if you're out in the daylight, if you're out in the sunshine, or under strong lighting, that it looks great, it's really sharp. And just the images I've seen online look good. But it's not backlit, so if you're in your living room with dim lighting while everybody's watching TV or whatever, and you just want to play a game because you're not interested in the show, you're not going to want to play the Playdate. You're going to want to play your Switch or something. And I just don't get how, so many people are hating on the Amico. The Playdate doesn't seem to have its, battalion of haters. And that could have something to do with the marketing of the Amico. And both of these systems are very late. Both are late because of COVID. I believe the Playdate, that we're talking about that in 2019. Same with the Amico, or perhaps a little before that. Regardless, these systems are late, and the pandemic has been blamed, and the shortage of components and all that kind of stuff. That's fine, but it seems like the Amico is getting hated on for being simplistic. The Amico is being hated on for being, underpowered and retro and all that stuff and too expensive. But I'm just not hearing the hate on the Playdate, and I'm not here to hate on it. I think it actually looks kind of neat as a little gadget, but it's overpriced. I do hope Panic, the company developing this, I wish them well. I hope it does well, because I like game consoles, and I want everybody I want the companies to do well. I want everybody to have fun. And if you pre-ordered this and you look like that, if you look at this as something like, wow, I'll gladly shell out $200 for this, more power to you, but I just don't get it. Now let's get to the crank. What an odd controller for a game system. Credit to the developers for something different. This is definitely something unusual. You crank it on the side, and when I first saw the Playdate being advertised and showing this crank, I thought, so is that how you power it? Do you crank it for a while and that charges the system so you don't ever have to use batteries or charge it in any way or plug it in? I thought, that's actually pretty genius. You can crank it for a few minutes and maybe that'll last you a few hours. Nope, it is actually a controller. You're cranking that and the robot is walking along. That's one of the primary games they've shown with that. And it just seems strange. And what I've noticed is when you start cranking it pretty hard, it just moves the system. So because you're cranking it over here and that kind of moves the system while you're playing it. It just doesn't look that comfortable. And it looks kind of clumsy and jerky. And I could even see at some point them releasing another iteration of this with no crank. Like if a lot of developers jump on board with this, with the Playdate and make a lot of games for it, and most of the games don't require the crank, I can see a second iteration of the Playdate with no crank, because it's just kind of odd. And hey, I won't know if the crank is actually a cool controller till I've tried it. Unlike a lot of the people that are insulting the Amico because it has a terrible controller and they've never actually tried that controller, I'm not going to say that about the Playdate. I can just say what I've based on seeing it. It just looks weird when you're cranking it and it's kind of moving the system while you're playing. It doesn't look great to me, but I won't know for sure until I actually play it. And I do hope to play this gadget at some point. Like I said, it seems more of a gadget to me, just more of a time waste. If you're having fun, it's not a waste, but just a time killer, something to do while you're just sitting around, hanging out or whatever. I do most of my portable gaming in the airport, on airplanes, and in the car. Like if we're on a long road trip and my wife is driving, we take turns driving, and when I'm in the passenger seat, I do like to play some games. That way we can, if I'm not reading, we can still talk if I'm still playing a game. If I'm reading, I'm completely absorbed. But if I'm playing a game, we can still talk. So that's pretty cool. Retro gaming on the go with the handheld unit is perfect for traveling, whether you're taking a road trip on an airplane. And I just can't see doing the Playdate on an airplane. You know, I'm sitting there and there's two people, you know, on each side of me, and I'm cranking this thing. That's not gonna happen. And it would look a little odd in the airport. I just don't see it. So this is a niche item. It's a gadget again, but let me know. What do you see about the Playdate? What am I missing out on? What? What is it about the Playdate that I don't quite get? It doesn't seem worth it to me for, you know, when it's all said and done, $200 or more. There's no backlit screen. That's the biggest, to me, that's probably the biggest setback to this. In 2021, I expect a backlit screen. And so far, the games I've seen being demonstrated in these various videos just don't appeal to me all that much necessarily, at least based on just a quick glance of each one. I haven't seen any dot gobbling maze games, any ladder climbing games, any shooters, the kind I prefer. But it's very likely those type of games will be on the system. But just in general, from what you've seen so far of the Playdate, I kind of like the way it looks because it looks retro. I like that it's small, and there are some things I like about it, but overall, I just don't know. It just doesn't seem that appealing to me. I just don't get it. Let me know in the comments if you do get it or you don't get it, what you think of the Playdate. All right, guys, again, I'm not looking for them to fail. I'm just giving you my honest opinion like I always do. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking this video. That is super helpful. And thank you so much for subscribing. You might notice I'm a little better lit than in most of my previous episodes. I did get some lighting thanks to my patrons. I'm still working with it a little bit, you know. Still a little bit new at all this YouTube stuff, but I'm upgrading the channel as I go thanks to my patrons, and just I'm having a lot of fun on YouTube. So thank you guys for watching, and thanks to my patrons for helping me upgrade the channel. I got more upgrades coming, and I plan on being in this YouTube thing for the long haul because I am having a blast. All right, guys, we will talk to you later. If you're a fan of my work, you might want to consider supporting me on Patreon. For just a low fee each month, you get a lot of extra content. Another way to support the channel and my writing career is to buy books direct from me, including the 100 Greatest Console Video Games, the Classic Home Video Game Series. It's like an encyclopedia set. And this massive bad boy, the NES Omnibus Volume 1 A through L. I will put links in the description of this video where you can buy books direct from me and where you can support me on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.